You know, we hear about AI all the time, and let's be real, it sounds incredibly smart, doesn't it? Almost like you've got a little genius living in your phone.
But what if I told you that sometimes that genius gets things wrong?
And I'm not talking about a little mistake here or there. I mean, very wrong.
Well, this strange behavior actually has a name, and it's exactly what we're going to break down in this explainer, AI hallucinations.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what a hallucination actually is. Then we'll look at a few real-world examples. After that, we'll dig into why this even happens. Then the good part, how you can reduce them. And we'll finish up with a super important safety checklist for when you really shouldn't trust an AI. Ready? Let's do this.
So first up, what is an AI hallucination? The easiest way to think about it is as the confident guess.
Put simply, an AI hallucination is when an AI gives you an answer that sounds totally believable, 100% correct, but it's completely fake, just made up out of thin air.
And this is such a crucial distinction to make. To us, it can really feel like the AI is lying to us. But what's actually happening is much simpler. It's just guessing. It's not trying to fool you. It literally doesn't know the difference between a fact and something it just invented.
Okay, time for section 2. Let's make this real with a few examples where, seeing is definitely not believing.
All right, example 1. Let's say you're doing some research and you ask the AI a simple factual question, like, who invented this technology?
And boom, the AI gives you this super confident answer. It's got a name, a year, a company. The whole thing looks legit. The problem? None of it is real. The person, the date, the company, all of it, totally made up. That is a classic hallucination.
Okay, example number 2, and this one gets a lot of people. You ask the AI to help you out with some schoolwork. Give me some research papers on this topic.
And check this out. It spits out a perfect-looking list of sources with titles, authors, journals. I mean, it looks great. So you go to find these papers, and they don't exist. The AI just invented a whole library of fake research.
Now for our third example, and honestly, this is where things can get pretty serious. You ask something really important, like, give me some medical advice.
Here's the scary part. The AI will answer, and it will sound just as confident as it did before. But that advice could be flat out wrong or maybe even harmful. It has zero understanding of danger or consequences. It's just trying to predict the next word.
And that leads us perfectly into our next section. Why on earth do AIs do this? Well, it all comes down to what you could call the word prediction game.
So this is really the secret sauce. When you ask a question, the AI isn't thinking. It's playing a math game. It looks at your question and predicts the most likely first word for an answer. Then, based on that word, it predicts the next word, and the next. It's just chaining words together to make a sentence that sounds right, without ever stopping to check if it's true. This really goes wrong when your question is a little vague, or if it just doesn't have the data it needs.
Okay, so we understand the problem, but what can we actually do about it? Let's jump into how you can reduce hallucinations. This is all about you taking control of the conversation.
Rule number 1 is so simple, but it's a game changer. You can actually give the AI instructions. So start your conversation by telling it, if you are not sure, say, I don't know. This gives the AI an easy way out, so it doesn't feel like it has to invent an answer.
Rule number 2 is pretty similar. You can tell it, only give information you are confident about. This makes the AI pause and consider its own certainty. If it comes back and says it's not very sure, that's a huge red flag for you.
And rule 3 is just a really good habit to get into. Instead of asking one gigantic, complicated question, just break it down. Ask small questions, one idea at a time. It makes that word prediction game way easier for the AI, and it seriously cuts down the chances of it going off the rails.
And that brings us to our final and maybe our most important section. When should you absolutely not trust AI? Think of this as your personal safety checklist.
Here are the 3 big ones. Never ever rely on AI by itself for health decisions, for important money matters, or for legal advice. The stakes are just too high. The golden rule is right there at the bottom. Always double-check important facts with a real human expert.
And really, this is the main thing to remember. AI is an amazing, powerful tool. It can help you write, brainstorm, summarize, all kinds of things. But it's a tool, not an expert. It's not a doctor. It's not a financial advisor. And it's definitely not a lawyer.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about.
Now that you know how confidently wrong AI can be, how are you going to use this powerful tool differently?